The clown you see on your screen right now is a guy called Steve Bray, or his real name is Dave Allen. Now, he is known as the Mr. Brexit protester outside Parliament. He's been doing this since the 2016 referendum, and at first it was amusing. He would wear a costume with a top hat and a cape. It was all EU flag inspired, and it was quite a novelty at first, and people laughed at him. But then, of course, disaster. We voted for Brexit. 17 plus million Brits wanted to leave the EU, and he wasn't happy, so he ramped it up. He became less of a protester and more of a nuisance. But nobody's laughing now because his behaviour since has become more erratic and dangerous. And he is also very, very abusive, especially to any Conservative MPs he sees outside Parliament. There was a video online of him accosting a Tory MP and his wife and kid outside a restaurant, and he was giving them abuse in front of the kid as well. But that's the lefties for you. They just love tormenting and screwing up with the vulnerable-minded. So here he is, this photo in front of you. I've chosen this one because he's one of these idiots who swallowed the lie that it was Russia behind Brexit. And so what he did was he dressed up in the uniform of a Russian military colonel, and he goose-stepped up and down Parliament and past Downing Street. Of course, this Russian interference with Brexit was never proven in the first place. It was just yet another thing that the left lost, and they wanted to blame Russia on. That's what they do. So who is this Dave Allen, and why is he doing this? Well, very little is known about him. If you go on the Wikipedia page, it sticks with his made-up name of Steve Bray. Now, if any of the usual lefties who come on here to try and insult me and my subscribers with your ill-informed and borderline illiterate comments could answer me, why do you never call him by his real name, Dave Allen? Why do you stick with Steve Bray? Who came up with Steve Bray? Why is he using it? Why are you calling him it? After all, when it comes to Tommy Robertson, you insist on calling him Stephen Yakesley Lennon or Tommy Five Names. Explain that if you can. So Dave Allen is a retired, he served in the military, we know that. He was a coin collector, and then as soon as he heard that Brexit happened, he left everything in Port Talbot, South Wales, came to London and just stood outside Parliament Square with his megaphone shouting, "Stop Brexit." And he's been there ever since. You'd be watching one of the news channels at the time, and they'd be trying to talk to someone, and he would be constantly interfering, and they couldn't conduct their interviews. You couldn't hear them because he was just being a nuisance. So he's been there now for 6 years at least, doing his shtick, and it's boring now. Like I said, it's boring, and it's dangerous, and it's abusive. He is more likely now to be heard shouting Tory scum or any other swear words rather than stop Brexit. So I think he's become rather unhinged, because the left do that. When they don't get their way, they become really, really unhinged. So, like I said earlier, he's been here now for 6 years. Now, allegedly, someone was paying for him to stay in a London townhouse while he was doing this, and he was parking his car on a daily basis near Parliament, and parking charges in Parliament are astronomical. Anywhere in London, it's quite high, but Parliament Square, you park near there, you're talking like getting a loan out to pay for it. Now, surely, as a pensioner, he couldn't afford all that for all those years. So who's paying it for him? Who is really behind Steve Bray? It's like the same question about Femi. Who's Femi working for? Who's paying him? It's interesting that these anti-Brexit characters who are, still being trolleyed out to talk against Brexit, they are quite shy about revealing who is really financing them. But it looks like it's all coming to a sudden stop for Dave Allen now, because the police have become involved. He was arrested before, but this time it's quite serious because he was outside Parliament a few days ago, and he had this big speaker and it was on full volume, and he was shouting Tory scum at Conservative MPs. So he was surrounded by like 5 or 6 officers, which is like overkill. I mean, the guy is a retired, he looks drunk. He does. When he speaks, he slurs, and he can hardly string a sentence together. But he's an old man, he's retired, he's nothing, so 5 or 6 officers, it's just overkill. and they warned him that he could face a fine, the confiscation of his speakers, and even arrest unless he stops blasting his music at full volume. Now, I'm not sure if Dave Allen was aware, but there is a new legislation limiting the playing of loud music directly outside Parliament now. And I think they brought this in, the MPs must have brought this in response to this idiot behaving like he is. Because like I said, he is a nuisance now. He's not just a protester, he is a nuisance, he is agitating, and he's there now to cause trouble. There is no hope on earth for him to overturn the Brexit decision made democratically by the people, the will of the people. He can't do it. He can't change it by himself. All right, it's happened. Brexit has happened. We're here now as it is, and there's nothing he can do about it. So he's either hopelessly confident that he can do something and still make a difference to overturn the Brexit decision, or he's lost his mind and gone insane and likes to live as a celebrity in his own infamy in the eyes of the lefties who still like him and think he's doing God's work. But he's not. He should be convinced to return to Port Talbot, put his slippers on, and enjoy retirement. Otherwise, he'll just end up in jail, won't he? What an idiot. And to be honest, I hope he does. And he can use that silly EU top hat he's been wearing in the corner of his cell as a shitter. After all, it's been full of crap for the past 6 years. Anyway, that's my video. Hope you like. Let me know what you think in the comments. Do you think that Dave Allen has the right to behave like he does, or would you rather see him yoinked off the streets in order to leave people alone because the guy is a dangerous nuisance? And if you haven't already, then please consider joining my channel. And that's that. So until my next video, please comment, share, subscribe, and Roger Trout.